What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Elevation here with another episode of the JBP Elevated, where we speak on the Joe Budden podcast and all of his co-hosts on and off the pod. So I just got through watching the BTS, right? And it has got to be hard to be the best friend or the brother of a superstar in their industry, in which you are trying to delve into. Imani is clearly sick as a dog. He is sick as can be. Yet here he is showing up for his brother in a time of need. I need you here. Ish. God knows what he's going through. We don't know if he's sick or if he's using a contract negotiation tactic. Mel, she got upset in the regular episode at the end of it. So that was her segue and her excuse to not be a part of the Patreon. Ice told them before the pod even started that he ain't gonna be there for the Patreon. So on BTS at the end of it, it is literally just Flip, Joe, and Imani's sick butt. And of course Parks on the side. But you mean to tell me that we're gonna get 2-3 hours of this on Friday, which is tomorrow? And this is the content that we pay for. Imani, get your bag, man. Somehow, some way, you got to put it into Joe's head. I'm the one standing on the front line for you when Julian was on Spaces and you're trying to get content out of this. I was the only one in the Spaces standing up for you. Although it looks corny, and it is corny. This is coming from me, my perspective. It is corny. But as a brother, you want to see your brother stand on the front line for you, even if it's a crash out. I did that move with Julian. Yet here you are on multiple BTS episodes playing his content, watching his content, interacting with this man. I'm the one that has been having takes that people don't agree with that have been going viral, aka the Beyonce take, aka Trey Songz beating me in the karaoke battle. Even though me personally, again, I feel Imani won that battle. And Ice performative butt on BTS, you don't know whether he's joking or not. And Flip is starting to catch on to it. Flip told him, I'm finna fry you up. And this is one of the times I've heard Flip say that, and I think he's serious. You keep finding snide ways to clown on me. You clowned on Kai Cenat and Drewski getting all the traction and movement that they've been receiving recently. You're clowning on me for being a skit nigga, even though I've told you numerous times to not call me a skit nigga anymore. I don't do skits. You've been getting all these shots off in my direction, yet anytime we shoot in yours, here comes the wall, here comes the sensitivity. I even made a comment on Patreon that I was proud of you for being able to take the barbs that came with the picture that Joe was clowning on with you and your brother. And I don't clown on kid pictures. I thought it was a cute picture. But I thought you were getting better at it. So we're going to see whenever Flip does fire off at your ass if you can take it or not. Because I know he hit below the belt when it came to your fingers. Because ever since he said that shit, your ass have been throwing your hands in your hoodie pockets or hiding them behind objects, a la Ish. So I know he has something that can hit you below the belt. So I'm going to be curious to see where that goes. Ish, everybody said Dr. Umar was coming on the 28th, 29th. Today's the 30th. I don't know. I haven't seen you. I didn't see you on the BTS. I'm not assuming I'm going to see you tomorrow. I'm getting nervous. Just going to be honest. Joe's trying to make it seem like everything is copacetic. He brought in J1 on the previous Patreon episode and we hadn't seen him in months. Imani has missed a week and he's clearly still sick and he had to bring his ass on this Patreon. What happens when Ish realizes all the leverage he has? I'm not going to play these games anymore. You goofed up. I remember clear as day when it happened. You goofed up when Flip, or you let it slip that you paid Flip on his suspension. When Ish said, oh, you got paid when you were suspended? The wheels started turning on Ish's head. When y'all called him Wheels, that was very fitting of a name for him. Because the wheels have been spinning in his head. What the hell am I going to hit Joe over the head with? Yeah, I want to raise in salary somewhat. And that's what's making Joe confused. because he probably doubled his salary. But it's just like, no, I don't just want the financial gain. I want equity. That stupid nigga in the car keeps alluding to Parks having equity, but that's probably one thing I don't disagree with him on. Why does Parks have equity? Because he stayed with the sinking ship? Because he's the engineer of the show? Because he does all the timestamps? Why is he able to get equity and I'm not? I think there's a bigger issue going on outside of it's just being sick. Now, this is not me saying he's not coming back. This is just me saying this could possibly be a negotiation tactic. What happens if he misses another week? And y'all are the ones that put the contract in the ethos. We wouldn't have known nothing about him resigning or not having resigned. But I'm going to be paying attention to all of this. This was just from a BTS episode. I'm paying way more attention to Julian and his podcast because Joe keeps paying attention to him. Something's going on with that. I think Joe is intrigued. And not just with Julian. I think Joe is... I don't want to say the word that I was going to say, but I think Joe is doggy enough to hire Julian in spite of Rory. Him and Maul are done. I don't ever anticipate them having a reconciliation of any sort. But I do think Rory and Joe have the same antipathy and feelings for each other. I hate you, but I still love you type feeling. So Joe's going to do anything in his power to shoot shots at Rory. So him interacting with Julian, him interacting with Julian was a tactic to get at Rory. I've seen Joe do this time and time and time again. Julian being brought on that Spaces and able to speak just reminded me of the Menace Material Entertainment versus Danny all over again. Joe tried to usurp Danny by including Menace Material and trying to big them up, and it didn't work. I see the same thing happening, except in this case, because I actually have listened to Julian's 2 pod episodes and the live he did, I'm kind of intrigued to see what he does if he continues to stay solo. And because everybody knows him in this hip-hop space, I'm curious to see what an average man can do in the hip-hop ethos. And this is not me trying to denigrate Julian by saying that. He's just a regular dude. And if he can continue to pull in an audience, and if he can continue to grow his podcast, solo dolo, or if he brings in people, I'm curious to see what that would do to shift the culture. So I'm intrigued like Joe's intrigued, but I'm concerned that Joe's intrigue isn't the same intrigue that I have. But the reason I'm saying this is because Rory came all the way out of his non-talking, non-disclosure shell as soon as Julian popped his shit off on the Spaces. So he's listening to all the Spaces that Danny's hosting, that Ian is in, and Joe is in, and all these people hosting Spaces. Rory is in there peeping his head to see and make sure Julian's not saying anything. And the moment he says something, this is when Rory gets off his passive-aggressive shots. He's paying attention just like Joe's paying attention because they're still battling each other. Joe should not be this caught up in the R&M ethos if he wasn't concerned about their movement still. He wants them to fail. And if he was to get and include Julian on any of his podcasts, shit might get ugly. It might get ugly. Hey, I'm going to tell y'all like this. If Julian comes out with another episode that I listen all the way through its entirety on, I'm gonna make a whole video just dedicated on Julian. I think this is a change that we needed. Now I'm curious to see what Roy and Maul are doing, and I haven't watched their podcast in months. This is the most traction that their podcast has received in months, and everybody associated with it has received in months. So I'm curious, but I ain't gonna hold y'all too long today. I will be coming out with the academics video because I do want to speak on that and how how socially we don't understand the severity of his actions. And he doesn't yet because it has happened so much throughout generations. But like I said, I'm going to make a video solely dedicated on that. I appreciate y'all for jumping right back into it with your boy. We're going to get them daily releases out again. let me know if y'all got anything y'all want me to talk about, and I can start making content based off of what y'all want me to talk about. See if I research it, or if I've seen the content that y'all want me to speak on already, then I could just make reactionary content off of it. But I appreciate y'all once again. Make sure y'all stay safe out here in these streets, and until tomorrow, peace.